What's up, Buttercups? Today we are going to discuss Pluto in the 6th house. So if you have this placement, you are my little self-improving transformer. So join me today as we see how this placement may manifest in your life. If you are beginning your journey in astrology and not sure where your Pluto is in your chart, then have no fear. Just go to astro.com, click on the charts and extended charts, type in your birth information. Now, you will have to have your time of birth to figure out what house Pluto is in, but then all you have to do is click submit and you will see your natal birth chart. So what is Pluto? It is the planet of transformation, the death and rebirth process, things that we obsess over, things that we fear. It is the planet of evolution. And what is the 6th house in astrology? Well, the 6th house is ruled by Virgo. It is things over our health, access services to others, daily activities, work, self-improvement. Things that you can control, like jobs, routines, pets, health. Now, remember, Pluto is here to teach you things, and Pluto does this by first taking your power away from you, and then you are exposed to experiences that slowly allows you to gain this power back so that it lasts. Pluto is the last planet in the solar system, so it receives the least amount of light from the sun. It can represent some dark things like your shadow side. But with transformation, you are able to transmute the shadow traits into light. So what happens when you mix the planet of transformation with the house of work and daily routine and health? Well, a lot of different things can manifest. And before I start this video, I do want to kind of make a disclaimer that it may be triggering to some. So with this placement, your soul has come into this life wanting to improve itself in all the ways. So body, mind, and spirit. Your soul has also come here to humble itself and to be able to work more effectively with others. So throughout this life, if you have Pluto in the 6th house, you will be placed in situations that cause you to improve yourself through your health, daily routine, and in work. And in situations that deal with humility and being able to serve others without expectations. So let's talk about childhood. It is possible that as a child, your mother, father, teacher, grandparent, someone around you may have been highly critical. Maybe they wanted things done a certain way and criticized you if you didn't do whatever it was the way that they wanted it done. Or maybe this was your schoolwork, or how you kept your room clean, or how you dressed, or how you cleaned things, or how you presented yourself to the world, or how you made the family look. This may eventually manifest in a psyche that is naturally hard on itself and analyzes and criticizes its own self. You may grow up and find that your mind is your own worst enemy. You know, I dated someone with this placement, and he basically told me that there was no need to criticize him because whatever the issue was, he had done criticized himself way worse than I could ever do. So with the authority figure in your life as a child criticizing you, and with the Virgo energy in your chart with Pluto being in the 6th house, you may have ended up being somewhat of a perfectionist because you have quite high standards for yourself. Now, as you grow older, your shortcomings could turn into kind of a guilt, feeling like where you self-blame. Now, also as a child, you may have had someone tell you what to do, and this could cause you to grow up and absolutely hate being told what to do. Remember, this is in the house of Virgo, and Virgo's ruling planet is Mercury, which is connected to the mind. So with this placement, you have a very critical mind, whether this came from your parents or teachers conditioning you to be critical or not. You have a very analytical mind. So believe me, when someone tells you what to do, you have already analyzed the situation, probably in far greater depths than the person that is telling you what to do has. So you may already feel like you have the answer, and it's probably right. So you don't like to be in positions where you have to listen to another person because you already have the right solution. Now, having an analytical mind is not always a bad thing. When we're dealing with the Pluto in the 6th house person, remember that Pluto is the planet of power and control and manipulation. So these people can be really keen on when someone is trying to manipulate them, they can see right through it. So, for example, think of commercials, okay? Really, the company is just trying to position their product in a way to entice you to buy it. And someone with this placement can see right through the manipulation of big corporations, whereas people with other placements are not going to understand the bigger picture on media and its hidden propaganda. Now, others may judge or criticize the person with Pluto in the 6th and think that they're paranoid or a conspiracy theorist, but this is the reason I love this placement, because to me, it makes a lot of sense what they have to say, which is not going to be for everybody. Okay, so also in childhood, your parents may have tried to control your routine and what you did. So it can feel freeing that as an adult, you can control your own routine. And why not? Because you know what's best anyways. Now, the 6th house also rules health. So in childhood, you may have had health problems, especially problems surrounding the skin. So this could manifest with weight gain or weight fluctuating, stretching of the skin, or maybe inflammation like bad acne. Life has a way to humble you. So these health problems can show that you are flawed. You are human. You are not perfect, but you can work towards accepting them and overcoming them. With this placement, you learn to be kind to yourself and love yourself the way that you are. Remember, not all people will judge or criticize you if you're flawed. We are human, we're all flawed. So we went over how the childhood of someone with Pluto in the 6th house may be played out, but what does their adulthood look like? So let's start out with the desire to be of service to others, because this placement is in the 6th house, which is about serving others. So I would say in early adulthood, before someone's Saturn return, there is a desire to be of service, to be useful. They can be pushovers or people pleasers in this stage of life because they put a great deal of pressure on themselves to meet the needs of others. They are sometimes late bloomers where they get in situations where they find out that serving others constantly or consistently is not for their best interest. Remember, Pluto is the planet of extremes, so it can swing from being a people pleaser to the other side where they find it difficult to be of service to others because they may not understand why they should use their energy to help someone when that person got themselves in the situation. So there needs to be a balance between oneself and the service that you provide, that they may have to learn to serve others on their own terms. So this kind of goes hand in hand with having a job and the service that you provide your boss to meet the needs of a business. So now this is in the house of work. So people with this placement typically have a great work ethic if they feel valued and appreciated and love what they do. Now, they also may quit a job if they don't feel like they are valued or appreciated, or if they face criticism, or if they are in a position where someone tells them what to do and how to do it. Someone with this placement could come up with their own way to do a job, and it's probably better and more efficient than the way that people are doing it now. So this person needs the freedom to be able to do their job on their own terms. And if they act and actually are able to do this and allowed to, they can actually overwork and turn themselves into workaholics or obsess about improving their job or work. Remember, there is a sense of perfectionism with this placement, and this can also be seen at their job. This placement can have a hard time with coworkers because when they are around others, they may feel that their way is right or more efficient. So they may come across as domineering or controlling to others with that sense of perfectionism. They like to get things done the right way in the most efficient way possible. So a big challenge with this placement may be to see a coworker doing something wrong or maybe a harder way and not saying anything about it, or showing the coworker a more efficient way to do things. So sometimes you just have to breathe and let some of the things go and realize that everyone doesn't do things like you, which is usually the best and the right way. So you may find that people actually get triggered by your work ethic because it is easy for you to work hard and do things perfect in the least amount of time. And coworkers may not be able to live up to those standards or perform the way that you do, and then they get triggered. You may find people do not like you at work because they are jealous or envious. So with this placement, you may transform through different jobs or different types of jobs. You are trying to figure out where you can fit in with your personality type. And sometimes the way to figure out what job is best for you is to try some jobs where it doesn't work out. Then you know, hey, this is not for me. So let's go to the other extreme with this placement, because remember, Pluto is the planet of extremes. I know a lot of people say that someone with Pluto in the 6th house is task-oriented and likes checking off their to-do list, and they can get a lot of stuff done, which is true. But I've also seen this manifest into procrastination because it's hard to be perfect, or the person knows the amount of energy it takes to achieve perfectionism. So then it causes them to just put it off. Also, someone with this placement can develop a coping mechanism where they basically accept that they will not be perfect, which is a good thing, but then they take it to an extreme. So I've seen someone with this placement blame their shortcomings on others and not take responsibility for it themselves. But really what they were doing is avoiding doing something because they know they can't live up to the perfectionism. So they may start by making excuses on why they can't do something. I had a friend with this placement, and he would say that he was the black sheep of the family, which is fine to be different than the rest of your family, but he came from a family of perfectionists, so he accepted that he wasn't perfect, but he would lean on that excuse to not do things. Now, this is a little dangerous because it's almost like they stay stuck in a rut when this happens. They have the capability of manifesting great things and becoming wildly successful, but it's almost like someone with this placement can psych themselves out of success because they feel like they have to be perfect in order to be successful, and then they will feel guilt if they have these shortcomings because of their highly critical mind. Now, some will suit up and improve themselves, and some will avoid improving themselves by making excuses, but ultimately Pluto is here to present you with lessons where you find a balance. You are not perfect, but you must keep striving to improve yourself, making mistakes along the way, but keep moving forward. You know, working for yourself could be beneficial with this placement because you get to control everything. You are the boss. You get to set the standards. The one downside is you may feel like your employees can never live up to your standards or never perform up to your standards. Now, you may feel like they can never do the work as well as you do. Now, with this placement, where you meet your romantic partner may be at work, and whether it's yours or theirs. Also, it's very impossible to have romantic encounters at work with this placement. Now, again, these people can become workaholics, so finding the proper work-life balance will be critical for those with this placement. It's possible for them to work until burnout, which could lead to the next thing that the 6th house is in charge of, which is health. Pluto is in this house, could have health problems arise because of problems at work or stress that is caused by a job. These people tend to be health conscious. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean they are healthy to a T. They may not always be following healthy eating rules or exercising, but it's always in the back of their mind. They know that eating a fast food cheeseburger is not the best for them. There are some people with this placement that are very strict with their diet and exercise. And then I have met some that swing between healthy and unhealthy with their diet and exercise. But when they are not doing things properly, their little critical inner voice is definitely letting them know that they should be making wiser choices. I have met a few hypochondriacs with this placement, and I have met some people that swing between totally clean and then neglect when it comes to their body. Now, sometimes with this placement, they can overthink things. Like if they experience any slight pain, their brain may go down a rabbit hole where they start thinking it's a part of a bigger disease. Like their brain goes into overdrive and thinks it's the worst thing. It reminds me kind of like when you have a small symptom and you get on WebMD and it says you're gonna die. Their brain does this naturally because they are quite health conscious without even trying. Someone with this placement can push their body to extremes. Also, an individual Pluto in the 6th house loves organization and things in order. So you can see people with this placement having OCD. Now, Mercury deals with the mind, so it's also possible for a mental health disorder to occur with this placement. And also remember, Pluto is the planet of sex and the 6th house is the house of health. So watch out for sexual health problems to occur, which could literally be these people's worst nightmare. Not saying it's gonna happen, but there's definitely a chance with this placement. Now, as far as partners go, someone with this placement is going to need to be with someone that is more laid back, that does not criticize them or tell them what to do. These people do not respond to criticism very well at all. So being with someone who is encouraging will help out a lot, because someone with this aspect may already feel guilt, like they aren't good enough or they are undeserving of things, when in reality, they deserve everything they want to manifest or achieve in life. They have the capability to put the work in and get it done. So remember, if you have this placement, not everyone will think less of you if you make a mistake. We're human and meant to make mistakes. So Michael Jackson had Pluto in his 6th house, and as a child, his dad was highly critical of him and his siblings. He also controlled Michael's daily routine. Joe Jackson, which is Michael's dad, enforced long rehearsals of his sons to make sure their songs and routines were perfect. Do you see how Pluto in the 6th house is playing out here? Michael grew up with a dad that controlled his daily routine, and he had a standard of perfection that Michael needed to live up to. Michael even recalls one time his dad was sitting in a chair with a belt in his hand watching his sons rehearse, and he was ready to punish them if they made any mistakes. So as a child, you can see how he was exposed to both criticism and then that sense of having to be perfect. Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon, also has this placement. Now, ironically enough, he gave an interview about the time that he worked at McDonald's, and he said he suffered from acne, that he wasn't allowed to be near the registers. So you can see how skin conditions really can affect someone with Pluto in the 6th house. Now, later on in life, he became employed by a hedge fund where he met his future wife. So you can see that sometimes someone with this placement will meet their romantic partner at work. It's also been said that in his early days, he was super demanding boss. He was a very demanding boss. Surprise, surprise. He had a standard that probably few employees could meet. So you can see how Pluto in the 6th house played out in these celebrities' lives. If you have this placement, how has it played out in your life? Let me know in the comments below. I love hearing from someone who actually has this placement. I put out astrology videos every Sunday, and right now we are currently doing a series of Pluto throughout the houses. So thank you for joining me today, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Mwah.